Try to imagine that a student brings to you a question, and the question is asking you to get the common ratio for a particular geometric progression, where you are told that the sum of the first and the second terms of that progression is 20, and of course the sum of the second and the third terms of the same progression is 30. So someone is expecting you to get the common ratio of that geometric progression, called geometric progression or sequence, which is actually a subtopic covered in a topic called series and sequence. This is again your online tutor, Mr. Ngata, and welcome to our today's class. So I expect to have what you call geometric progression getting discussed today. And in this geometric progression, I'm going to actually introduce to you one, the formula of getting the nth term of that progression. And of course, it is always given as AR raised to n minus 1. And if someone tells me that the sum of the first, okay, and of course the second, so the summation of the first and the second terms of this geometric progression is 20, and still the person says that the sum of the second and the third terms of this same progression is 30. So they expect us to get the common ratio of this geometric progression. So I need first to come up with a letter, an expression that can actually represent, or a formula that can represent the first term of this geometric progression. Whether it is a geometric progression or an arithmetic progression, the first term is always given as A. Then we shall say plus. And how do I get the second term? So I know N stands for the number of terms, and R stands for the common ratio, and S stands for the first term. So our first term for this geometric progression is A. Then how do you get the second term? Where there's n, I'm going to put 2. So and then have A, then I'll write R, then where there's n, I've actually put 2. So I'll end up having 2 minus 1. So that ends up giving us AR1, and that should be equal to 20. So when I get to this other end, I'm going to have the second term and the third term in terms of the summation giving us 30. So let me get the expression for the second term. It is still the same expression I've actually written here. So I'm going to have AR raised to 1, then plus. Then what will be the expression for the third term of this expression or this progression? I will be able to get back to this formula that gives me the nth term of this geometric progression, and be able to put 3 where there's n. So I'll have again A, okay? Then I'll write R, then come back and say if n is 3, then that means it's going to be 3 minus 1. So we'll be able to have 2. So this must give me 30. So getting back to this first formula, I can be able to simplify out A. So I'll have A into 1 plus R, close the bracket, the answer must be 20. If I get to this other one, I can be able to actually factorize out AR and not only A, because here A was common. So I said A into. Then I'll have 1 plus R. So A times 1, that is A. A times R, AR. That must be equal to 20. On this other hand, I'm going to factorize out AR. So AARR. So I'll actually be able to get left with 1. Then plus, and A will disappear. I'll be left with what? R. So that when I say AR times 1, I'm going to get AR1, of course, just AR. AR times R, AR squared. So that must be equal to 30. So I can take this and this and be able to compare. And of course, this and this are the same. So I can say, let me take this over this. You see, because I'm looking for the common ratio. So I'll be able to say AR into 1 plus R, close the brackets, is equals to 30. Then I say divide by, it will be said first and second 20, second and third, so just pick this over that. Because how do you get R? We always say, for example, I can say AR3, the third term or the fourth term, or you can just say AR2 over AR. Or someone else can say R is equals to Okay, then I say AR over A. So how do you get the common ratio? R is equal to AR over A. You can say R is equal to AR squared over AR. So the second term over the first term, or the third term over the second term, that can give you what? So I can be able to get the summation of second term and third term over the summation of first term and second term. I can be able to get the common ratio. So this can be over A into 1 plus R, close the bracket, the answer must be equal to 20. Okay, so this and this will disappear. So I'll be left with now AR over A should be equal to 1.5. Why? 30 divided by 20. So this and this will disappear. So my R is equal to 1.5. So that becomes our final answer for that question for today.